Good morning. It's always so special to be back here. I was just sitting here and considering, I'm already getting emotional. That wasn't planned. It was over 16 years ago that I was first sent out from this church, and this song, actually, I blame the song for my emotions. The song was a bit of a throwback because during kind of that first season when I joined YWAM back in 2009, this song was big at that time, and I remember surrendering at that point, going, God, here's my life. And at that time, I had no idea that would lead to 16 years down the track, still with YWAM, living in Papua New Guinea on a medical ship. But yeah, we are just so grateful. And even considering it was 4 years ago that many of you celebrated our wedding with us here in this church. So it's, special to be together. So grateful. We're singing about God's love, and we've seen God's love so abundantly through this church. So it's good to be together. And it's hard considering it's been a year and a half since we've been here, and to try to encapsulate that in 10 or so minutes feels a little bit impossible, but just wanting to share a few highlights and really just share with you all what you've been part of. So we, as my dad said, work with YWAM medical ships in Australia and Papua New Guinea. This back here is our home. This has been our home exclusively for actually the last 5 years. It was this month, 5 years ago, that we packed up all other homes, and this ship became our only home. And we travel to remote parts of Papua New Guinea, offering free medical services, community and Bible engagement, training, and ultimately just the love of God and hope in really real, tangible ways that people need it desperately. And it's a great privilege to be able to do what we do. But I'll pass it over to Icy. He'll share a bit more before I continue. But we are feeling very grateful, and I think it's special songs that we've been singing as we all reflect on that.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah. Anyway, I would like to start my conversation because I want to say I am so grateful to be here. I am so grateful to marry to this wonderful woman. And that makes me become part of this church. Automatically. It's the blessing of being married to someone from this church, and I appreciate that. And we're so glad to be here. We're so glad to have this opportunity to share our life updates and things that happen to our life, and to share our story with you guys today. So today, one of the things that I want to make mention first is on behalf of my wife and we want to take this opportunity to thank the church for your unwavering support over the years. You guys have been so faithful to support us and be at our back. It's so good to have a foundation at the back of us and going into missions and serve the remote community of PNG. That's where I'm from. And it's just amazing to have the support from you guys. And not forgetting those that are individually supporting us, family, people, and the community of this church, the church body. We really appreciate your support. Whether it's prayer, whether it's financial encouragement, we really appreciate it. Your support goes very far, and we're thankful. Thank you very much. So thank you for being part of our journey and our story, our bigger story that God called us to be. One of the things that I want to share today is the update of the YWAM PNG dry dock. And I mainly stay on board the ship, and I operate the ship. My wife, the ship manager, she's my boss. And I drive the ship as a driver. I remember 1.5 years ago, we were standing up here and we talked about the 10-year life extension for the ship. And one of the important things about that is because the ship is 25 years old, we have to put the ship into a dry dock. And it is a major component because we want to keep the ship for another 10 years. So, I would like to say we have successfully completed dry dock 4 months ago, and the ship is now, at this moment when I speak, is on outreach. And we'll play a video in a second, and it will talk about what's been happening in the dry dock. So without further delay, I'll go ahead and tell the AV, go ahead and play the video. Thank you.
Here in the Philippines, the YWAM PNG is undergoing essential work in a dockyard known for its world-class aluminium work. From reinforcing aluminium to overhauling vital systems, This work will make the ship safer, stronger, and ready to go the distance. Our crew are working hard alongside local specialists. Many of us are from Papua New Guinea, and we are honored to represent our nation during this project. Every weld and every repairs are making our ship stronger and ready for many more years of service. This ship is more than a piece of aluminium. It is a symbol of hope, bringing medical care and training to the most remote communities in Western Province. Thanks to the expertise here in the dockyard and the dedication of our crew, the MV YWAM PNG will soon be back on outreach, working shoulder to shoulder with local health workers to continue to empower healthy lives, families, and communities for healthy Papua New Guinea.
Well, the dry dock ended up in 4 months. 1 month extra than we expected. We faced so many challenges during the dry dock. I wake up at 5 o'clock, go to work, and then come back around 7 o'clock. And we keep doing that on 6 days of the week. And it's amazing. Even though so many challenges that we face, God is our good God, and He's faithful, and He makes everything possible for us to get out of the dry dock because people in PNG need us. And we just left 2 days before the cyclone hit Philippines, and we are back in PNG and doing outreach again towards the end of the year last year. Now, another thing that I want to say is up there you can see there's a majority of the team up there this is all the crew for PNG. And the majority of these guys are general volunteers, and they've been part of the YWAM crew. And I have the privilege to go lead them, train them, and equip them. And I just love that the ship is not just for medical service purposes to the remote areas, but also a mission on board that we can equip and upskilling young Papua New Guineans. Some of this crew, they finish schools, they don't have any ships to go on, but we create the opportunity for them to come and train on board, so that they can go back outside with this character building and be a good seafarer. So yeah, this is my update, and I will pass my mic to the wifey.
It's amazing standing here looking back at this dry dock. The number of miracles it took for this dry dock to happen. Like, you might be thinking, like, can you talk about, real missions, But like, working on a ship is just as much missions and worship as going out and sharing the gospel. And God has been so faithful. Like, around last time when we were here, the year before this dry dock, we had to get the ship out of the water by the middle of last year legally. We could not keep operating it. And Austell, the company that built the ship, told us that there were no dockyards in the whole world available all of last year. Like, no spots, no dockyard. We also had no money for this dry dock, which cost literal millions of dollars. And we saw God provide in incredible ways, opening up a dockyard. The Australian government contributed 4 million Australian dollars towards our dry dock, which essentially covered the bulk of it, which is insane. We've also received additional funding towards what we're calling stage 2 of life extension, which is a lot of additional jobs that we didn't need to do in dry dock, but replacing washers and dryers and carpet and ovens and lots of things that we need to make the ship strong and ready to go for another 10 years. So it's just incredible, God's faithfulness in that. And we do not just celebrate a dry dock because it's a nice idea, but because it means the ship can go back and get to these isolated places. And it was the first day we were back on outreach, back doing medical services after dry dock. One of the first patients actually who arrived, and I could spend hours here telling you stories of patients. I won't do that. But one of the first ones was a woman who had just given birth earlier, actually that morning, and she was very unwell and getting worse kind of by the minute. She had delivered the baby but hadn't delivered the placenta, and was, getting worse and worse. And thankfully our team was there. They were able to give the medication she needed to be able to deliver the placenta, and just the difference later in that day, in her energy, like she couldn't even walk when she came into the clinic. She was helped into the clinic, was digressing. And she was strong and healthy, leaving with her baby at the end of the day. So many stories like that. That's why we, celebrate a completed dry dock and God's miracles to see that happen. One of the other things that was one of my favorite stories from last year was an opportunity we had. So in one of the places we go called the Bamu River, we've been going there for over a decade. And apart from us, a team that really didn't have anything to do with us has been working on translating the Bible into the Bamu language for decades, like literal decades. And we had the opportunity, because we have a ship and because we were going, to take the first published portions of the Bible to this region in their heart language and be part of a ceremony to celebrate the portions of the Bible arriving for the first time. So we'll just play a short clip that shows you a little bit of just the emotion and the joy of this community seeing this happen. So this is why we celebrate having a ship, to take us out to some of the most remote places you can get to, places that have so little access. It's hard to imagine, like, for the first time reading the Bible in your heart language and being able to be part of that, even though we haven't been part of the translation work, is really, really special. So there's so many more stories we could tell. There's a few photos here of that ceremony on that day. But really, we're so grateful just for what God is up to. It's been a challenging last 5 or so years of just a lot of ups and downs, but we've seen God's love and his faithfulness to us personally in sustaining us, as well as to our ministry, and just look forward to seeing what else God has in store and what else he has up his sleeve just in the months and years to come. So thank you for the opportunity to share, and for your ongoing support.